As children growing up in a blue-collar town outside of Chicago, my friend Gail and I played Red Rover with neighborhood kids and staged plays in her garage. We charged a nickel and served Kool-Aid with vanilla wafers. On Wednesday afternoons, a neighbor lady named Mrs. White taught us to sew. Gail and I roamed the neighborhood, chasing each other down grassy alleyways as we pretended to be international spies. After high school, Gail and I lost touch for about 25 years after I married and moved east. When we finally reconnected in our 40s, I learned that Gail had taught art in South Central LA and worked with victims of torture. I also learned that Gail had returned to Chicago after her first schizophrenic breakdown when she was in her mid-30s. She moved back to her childhood home where her mother took care of her middle daughter, haunted by voices. Eventually, Gail became stable enough to move into a semi-independent community in Chicago. Tragedy struck again when a hit-and-run driver nearly killed her. Gail spent more than a year in a rehab hospital learning to walk again with a cane. Not long afterward, her favorite nephew committed suicide at the age of 19. Gail's accident left her frail, forcing her to move into a nursing home for people with chronic mental illness. If the true test of life is doing the best you can with the cards you are dealt, then Gail wins hands down. A talented artist and poet, Gail continues to create art. Her vibrant watercolors have been exhibited at Chicago area galleries and in a New York City museum. While in the nursing home, she earned her master's in gifted education. She taught art to residents of another nursing home until the funding disappeared. Gail acts as a surrogate mother, encouraging other residents to write articles and poetry for a newsletter she edits. When the weather is nice, Gail and her friends roll cigarettes on stone benches outside their nursing home or walk to a corner cafe where she reads tarot cards for customers. But Gail longs to live in her own apartment where she can snuggle with a cat and cook spaghetti for friends. I now work in the development department at Community Counseling Centers of Chicago, C4, an agency dedicated to helping people with mental illness live outside of institutions. I am passionate about the work that C4 does, in part because I have witnessed the courage Gail has shown in her drive to become independent. C4 helps adults with schizophrenia, severe depression, and bipolar disorder recover in the community where they can become part of the fabric of life. C4 provides not only mental health services, but also advocates to fight the stigma that isolates and shuns people with mental illness. As the child of a parent who suffered from manic depression, I know that stigma has decreased, but we still have a long way to go. Gail and so many others with mental illness have a right to live with dignity in housing that encourages independence and choice. Gail has been in a nursing home for more than 10 years now. My hope is that she will one day live in a place she is proud to call home.